the newcomers to the HBCU world, they have all these ideas that we've been hashing around for like the past 20 years. So the latest one from Deion is that MEAC and SWAC need to form a super conference. What do you think about that, man? Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Dion, I mean, I doubt that he would hear this, but let me just keep it real with you, my brother. I mean, me and Riq, our families go back what? I mean,
Mine
I
goes
believe
back a
those go.
hundred years. 100 years.
Yeah, mine goes back 100 years in this, I mean, I have great grandparents, great grandparents, who were at Talladega, or and Johnson C. Smith and all of these Tennessee State, Morris Brown. I mean, all of these Fisk, this is culture, man. And I'm sure you probably got some in your family somewhere too. But I mean, we take this is like culture. It's like when you say stuff like that, we know it's from an outside perspective. The reason why you can't combine the MEAC and the SWAC because there's two culturally different ideas when it comes to this. I mean, MEAC is mid-Atlantic. The culture from the mid-Atlantic is different from the culture from the southwestern parts of the United States. Let me put it to you this way. There's Martin and then there's Malcolm. Martin was the talker. No, I'm sorry. Malcolm was he was the try me. He was out there. He was like, I'm gonna show you these hands. Whereas Martin was more subtle. And Martin was like, okay, I'm gonna make it work from a different framework. And both achieved exactly what they wanted, just differently. So that's what the MEAC and the SWAC is. You know what I mean? So when we say about combining it to make a super conference, no, I mean, the MEAC is going to be fine. I mean, we did lose FAMU and Bethune, and of course, us in A&T, but each of those programs that left had to leave because those programs have different missions. They weren't a part of the charter. If we look at A&T and Hampton, those are, I would say, progressive programs, that can fit in any circle. So we, at one point, didn't fit the MEAC brand the way that the MEAC wanted it to fit. And same way with A&T, those are, they are a progressive program. And then and FAMU and Bethune is their family program. So they fit the SWAC profile. So that's why I would say kind of stay in your lane on that, my brother. I get it. I'm happy you here, but and I understand you want to change the narrative and use what God has given you to shine on Jackson State. But I mean, my thing is I'm with you. I enjoy what you're doing, but certain things have to work within a certain framework and let it be natural. So the MEAC and the SWAC joining together, no, leave it alone.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I saw Tyrone Weekly says he agreed with that up at Morgan State, and I think
He a
outside,
Michigan dude. He a Michigan dude.
right,
So
right. That's what I
hush.
was saying. Like outside, new blood is always good. Rejuvenates you, gives you some new ideas, but you also have to, like you say, you have to look within the framework and the environments that we have. Like HBCUs from a sports perspective and just from, different funding perspective. Yeah, many struggle. We could all use more, but we're not like poor struggling sisters like here and brothers. Like we do amazing things. And I think we need to just remember that like everything is not about sports. You have to look at the larger universities and what they're doing and celebrate that. I mean, could we win a couple more football games? Sure. But the culture at our schools are thriving and doing quite well against the odds. And I think we just need to remember that and don't let some of these guys who aren't really familiar with how things work come and blow things up and become the face of them. So that's one thing Jackson State should guard against is allowing
Absolutely.
Deion to become the face of their entire
Yeah.
university.
And
Jackson
just to
State's a
kind of
proud school, man. I mean, they don't they
thank
don't
you,
need they
thank
don't need
you.
him.
And just to caveat off of that, I mean, just to piggyback off of that, Jackson State is probably, I think they bring in the most research dollars out of any HBCU. I'm talking about even over us and Howard. they bring in a significant number of research dollars. And when I mean research, that means their abilities to research subjects like whether it's science, electronics or chemistry or engineering. These are these are these are, I would say, methods for them that go into journals, that go into public research journals and public research institutions that Jackson State does. So Jackson State had a name before Prime got there. And my whole concern for Jackson State, it was like, listen, look, I know you're happy that Prime is there, but don't let Prime take over, what the institution is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, because Prime wouldn't pull that mess at Hampton.
No.
They like wearing a gold chain on the sideline. Please, like, man, what's this dude? That's not a good representation of what we are. I'm not saying I don't feel what Prime is doing. I like what he's doing. But at the same time, that doesn't fly with us. It don't fly at Howard. It won't fly. It definitely won't. It don't fly at FAMU, because if you look at Willie Simmons, he's shirt tucked in. I'm not trying to say you have to be a respectable Negro, but I'm just saying, like, certain things that I get it. He's colorful. Alvin Wyatt was colorful, but Alvin Wyatt, you had some sort of, I would say, modicum of respect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm just saying. This is my thing. Tyrone Wheatley and Deion Sanders, y'all really ain't from the crew. I mean, you ain't in the it's like different levels to this, and you just ain't at that level just yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
just remember, like, the folks running the schools and the conferences. I mean, we kid Dennis Thomas an awful lot, but these are smart folks. Like, people are, just remember that. We're not just muddling around here. It's like,
he is
woe
a
is
doctor.
me. Right? These are smart people.
So he very smart. So
yeah, just keep that in mind. So yeah, we'll watch the Deion show from afar, but at least they got the win from over Florida A&M 7-6. That, if you like defense, that was a good, strong, hard-hitting game. Yeah. So the defenses showed up. Quarterback play was interesting, but it was good from a defensive perspective. I saw one thing that will be interesting to watch. So assuming that Jackson State gets it together and wins a couple titles, and they butt up against that Celebration Bowl ceiling, how's that going to play out? After he wins two of them, right? What's going to happen? That's the best case scenario.
He's okay. Hold on. So you mean if he wins two Celebration Bowls, right?
Yeah. Then what next?
Oh, he ain't coming. He's out. But this is my thing. Who's going to want him now?
Right.
I mean, is this my thing? I think it's like Black HBCU coaches outside of the HBCU sphere don't move up as well as white coaches. Case in point, I think Hobson over at Alcorn, he left PWI to come coach at Alcorn, did very well at Alcorn, then went right back to Southern Miss. And you won't see, Pete Richardson never got the call up, Joe Taylor did get the call up, but didn't take it. Mm-hmm. It's very hard for HBCU coaches. I'm talking about Black HBCU coaches to get that call up. You might see like the coach over at North Carolina Central. He was at the offensive coordinator at Rice, but you're not going to get we haven't seen a head coaching gig. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if they do come, then it will be, good for Deion. But, he did say that God called him to Jackson State, and I mean, I don't care if you're religious or not, but I don't know about a higher being saying you need to go to Jackson State because the Negroes are sick down there. going to fix that program. Hey, Jackson State don't need Deion. I mean, they need, this is my thing. They had coaches before him, I think Hughes and Hendricks, and of course they had Comagee, mm-hmm. And all these guys, and they had some success with Comagee, but they just had trouble, so the university is not in no poor or dire financial straits. So I just take aback when people say things like God called me to come here, because honestly, Deion didn't probably I think he tried to finesse his way into Florida State. And
Yeah.
I'm like, really, man? You think they're gonna let you be a part? I mean, you did graduate from there, but I mean, I don't think they're gonna let you just get in there like that. I mean, I don't think it works like that. And uh, my thing is though, it's like I think sometimes a lot of us, we bear the brunt on certain things when it comes to our perception. You know what I mean? Like with the whole situation with Cam Newton and Mac Jones, you read all these like, oh, I just read something that said that Rob Ninkovich said that Mac Jones showed Cam Newton how to read the playbook. It's always that underlying theme of like, oh, he's unintelligent. But Cam Newton's won a national title, Rookie of the Year, multiple Pro Bowler, took a team to Super Bowl, MVP. I'm sure he's smart enough to figure that out. But at the same time, though, it's like we all protect Cam Newton in that way. Like, even though private, we like, man, we want to slap him upside his head. But he's our guy. It's like we got to protect him because we know how the outside world could feel. It could feel. And so, yeah, I am. If God said Deion to Jackson State, then yeah, I'm probably happy because you could get away with some of the stuff here that he's doing here at Jackson State because we get it, we understand it. But if you pull in that some of that stuff over at FSU, then it's some of the, I would say, the coded language that we would hear, from outside, and influence, outside voices. And it's just like, how do you combat that?
No, I guarantee you, if he pulled that stuff in Florida State, it wouldn't be coded.
It was,
There would be
yes.
no coded language. They were like, yo, get this Negro out of here right now. Get him out of here. There would be no codes on
Yeah,
that language.
just like when we watched Willie Taggart, it's like I remember, I think he lost his like a really bad game, and I saw all of these memes from my brother that people were sending, and it's like people were sending like almost lynching parties where that N-word Willie, and I'm just sitting here like, oh man. And so then, it's like you got to put up with this stuff, I mean, that's part of coaching, but at the same time, you're just like, oh, why do I have to do? But that's the thing. If Deion, went out there, and I'm not saying he's behaving that way because he behaved, and it's like, I'm not talking about he's like a child, but certain things that I think like he is like, we haven't seen an HBCU coach like this. Shine Wyatt, Alvin Wyatt, similar. He dressed nicely. He dressed like he was like that old man in the club, though. But you had a certain level of respect for, what he was saying and what he was doing. I think with Deion, it's just like you still have it, but it's different. It's kind of like, it's just different. And for some of us, we just don't know how to take it. But
yeah. I mean, I think if the best case scenario for him and them is they continue to win, and with the talent, I mean, he's bringing in talent. So if all that proves itself on the field, they'll win. But I wonder if they're gonna run into what A&T ran into. Like, they were tired of winning the Celebration Bowl,
yeah.
And what are they going to do? That's just gonna, and assuming that if he can't leave, you don't want a boxed in prime.
No.
You know what I mean? So it'll just be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure someone else will call him, but I do agree. If he continues to win, like let's say multiple Celebration Bowls, he's gonna be like, man, we need to get out of that SWAC and join something else so we can go in the playoffs. And I wouldn't blame him. I would.
Right. That's the best case scenario for them too. Right now, they're just gonna have to manage that. So, all right, enough of prime, man. Any other interesting games? I'm looking down no, not really. We talked about them all. Oh, one thing